The total collapse of Russia's mighty Black Sea fleet. We're going to unpack how a global superpower's navy was completely paralyzed by an enemy that, well, doesn't really have a navy at all.
You know, by April 2026, this quote wasn't just dramatic, it was the impossible reality for every sailor in that fleet. A once dominant force, the one that was supposed to control the entire Black Sea, had been reduced to what one analyst called a literal sitting duck.
I mean, look at this number. Over a third of its ships, and that includes 2 submarines, were either at the bottom of the sea or severely damaged. So the big mystery is, how? How in the world does a fleet of billion-dollar warships get taken apart like this?
Okay, so here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll look at the fleet's disastrous situation and what was supposed to be a safe harbor. Then, we'll get into the game-changing tech and the epic failures that made it all possible. And finally, we're going to explore what this means for the future of naval warfare for everybody.
Right, so after getting hammered again and again at their main base in Sebastopol, Russia decided to pull most of its fleet back east to the port of Novorossiysk. It seemed like a smart move, get your ships out of harm's way, but it turned out to be a catastrophic mistake. See, the very geography of Novorossiysk became the problem. It's a bay surrounded by mountains with these big breakwaters at the entrance. So instead of a shield, it became a cage. All of Russia's most valuable ships were now packed together in one small confined area with nowhere to run. A perfect target.
And this didn't happen overnight. It was a slow-motion disaster that just kept getting faster. It really started with that shocking missile strike on the flagship, the Moskva. That was the first big crack in this myth of Russian invincibility. But after that, the threat evolved into something totally new, all thanks to a new kind of weapon.
So, what exactly was this new threat? Well, the real revolution wasn't coming from other big ships or fancy missiles. It was coming from these cheap, fast, and stealthy drones that were buzzing right on the surface of the water. They were like these little invisible shadows that were about to change naval warfare forever. Leading the charge was this thing, the Magura V5. The easiest way to think about it is like a remote-controlled speedboat packed with explosives. And its real genius is that it sits so low in the water, it's almost impossible for traditional radar to pick it up. They were designed to hunt in packs, like wolves, to just completely overwhelm a ship's defenses. But the Magura wasn't working alone. It had a big brother, the Sea Baby. This thing was a much heavier hitter, carrying a massive payload. We're talking over a ton of explosives. It was designed for taking out huge targets. Together, this drone swarm just shattered all of Russia's old defensive strategies. And this is where the math just gets brutal. I mean, look at this. On one side, you have Russian warships that cost tens, sometimes hundreds of millions of dollars. On the other, you have these drones that are a tiny fraction of that cost. Ukraine could literally afford to lose dozens of these things for every single successful hit. It was a numbers game they just couldn't lose. The losses for Russia were absolutely staggering. To put it in perspective, one ship, just one, the Sergei Kotov, was worth about $65 million. That one ship was worth more than the entire fleet of drones that sent it straight to the bottom of the Black Sea. So you have to be asking yourself why. Why couldn't a multi-billion-dollar military stop these things? Well, the answer isn't just one simple mistake. It was a whole cascade of failures, a total system collapse, really.
First off, their entire defensive setup was designed to fight the wrong war. Their billion-dollar air defense systems were looking up at the sky for jets and missiles, not down at the waves for tiny speedboats. Then you add in the geographic trap of the port, a logistics nightmare where they couldn't even get damaged ships out for repairs, and a command structure that was just moving way too slow. It was the perfect storm of failure. And this quote just perfectly captures the impossible situation for the Russian defenders. Think about it. When you're facing a swarm, the attackers only need one drone to get through for a catastrophic success. But the defense, they have to be perfect. They have to stop every single one. And being perfect is, well, pretty much impossible. So this huge victory wasn't just about sinking ships. It fundamentally changed the entire conflict. Let's take a look at the new reality this created in the Black Sea, because the consequences for both sides were absolutely massive. For Ukraine, the results were just incredible. They secured their grain exports, which is a literal lifeline for their economy. They pushed the Russian Navy away from their coastline, and they made it much harder to supply Crimea. And maybe most importantly, they seriously cut down on Russia's ability to launch long-range missiles from the sea. For Russia, the losses were just as huge, and they rippled through everything. Militarily, their fleet was basically useless. Economically,
Their vital oil exports were suddenly at risk, and the political damage was immense. It shattered this whole story of an invincible navy and took away their ability to project power into areas like the Mediterranean.
So here's where this story gets even bigger, because the shockwaves from the Black Sea are now washing over every major navy in the world. It's forcing a complete rethink of what it even means to have a powerful navy.
All of a sudden, military planners from Washington to Beijing are looking at their fleets and having a moment of panic. They're realizing that their huge, expensive, crew-filled warships are shockingly vulnerable to these cheap little autonomous swarms. The Black Sea basically became a live-fire laboratory for the future of war.
And this might be the single most revolutionary idea to come out of all this. Just think about this for a second. For the price of one modern destroyer, a country can now build an entire fleet of over 100 of these advanced naval drones. This doesn't just change tactics, it changes who can be a naval power.
The whole global conversation has flipped, like overnight. The question is no longer, hey, should we look into this drone technology? It has become a frantic race to answer, how on earth do we defend against this, and how fast can we do it? This is the new naval arms race.
Which brings us to the ultimate billion-dollar question, and I mean that literally. This is the question now being debated in the highest levels of military power around the world, and the answer could shape global strategy for the next 100 years.
In the Black Sea, Ukraine didn't just theorize about this. They proved it. They showed the entire world that the future of naval warfare is already here. And in one of the greatest ironies in military history, it was pioneered by a country that doesn't even have a navy.